Hi, this is Dan Kraus. I'm coming to you live from the 2022 HEI Annual Conference. I'm here with the 2021 Walter Rosenblith New Investigator Award winner, Lucas Henneman from George Mason University, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his upcoming study.
Great, thanks, Dan. Hi, everyone. So this study is inspired by a few things. One of them is that we know a lot about total PM 2.5 in the atmosphere, so all of the total pollution that we're exposed to. But one, we know to reduce that PM 2.5, we have to regulate sources. So there's a question of what sources they come from. And two, the potential inequitable exposure to that PM 2.5 might be different for the sources that we regulate specifically. So what I want to figure out is across the US, where is the PM 2.5 coming from? Who's exposed to that PM 2.5 from specific sources? So in order to figure that out, there are a few input data sets that I will use. I'll also interject that this is all work planned, and results will be coming in later HEI conferences. The first major input is going to be source impacts at each monitor location across the US. So about 300 monitor locations will be doing PMF source apportionment at those locations. The second major impact or major input is coming from a chemical transport model called CMAQ-DDM. So we'll be able to estimate sensitivities, PM 2.5 sensitivities to specific sources spatially across the United States. Then we'll collect a bunch of other inputs like land use, meteorology, more specific inputs to source categories like wildfire locations, infrastructure, and activity data. Combine all three of these in a big machine learning model that predicts source PM 2.5 source impacts at each location across the United States on a 1 kilometer scale on a daily time span. Now, once we have those daily PM 2.5 source impacts, we can start to ask some really interesting questions like how has exposure to specific sources changed over time as the US has input regulations over the last decade, for example. Are there differences in racial or economic exposure, or groups who are exposed to different sources at different times during this period, and how have the policies that were implemented on specific sources impacted those inequities? So I'm really excited to get the research started and hope to provide updates in future HEI meetings.